Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya Muhammad Khairul Izwan bin Sazli. Nombor metrik 13 DKA 19F1059. Hari ini saya akan membentangkan tentang kes study 2 untuk subjek DCC 50232 Engineering in Society. Kumpulan kami terdiri daripada 3 orang, iaitu saya sendiri Muhammad Khairul Izwan bin Sazli, seterusnya Muhammad Syahril bin Cik Asno, nombor metrik 13 DKA 19F1129, dan soalan lagi adalah Muhammad Hafizuddin bin Cik Mi'rani, nombor metrik adalah 13 DKA 19F1124. Okay, this is our introduction about this study 2. Ethnic is an important topic for engineering of every level and field. When you become professional engineering, however, you are held to a higher standard. That is why one of the requirements for maintaining your professional engineering license is to meet a certain number of professional development hours, which at least 2 being in ethics. As a professional engineering, we are trusted with projects that impact the life of hundreds of thousands of people. The NJSPE Code of Ethics for Engineering is a document that was put together to help us keep that fact in mind, and the guiding factor in making hard decisions during our career. The code ethic can be summed up with 2 key points that we will explore in more depth: safety and honesty. The preamble to the NJSPE Code of Ethics for Engineering states that engineers require honesty, impartiality, fairness, and equity, and must be dedicated to the protection of the public health, safety, and welfare. When it comes to ethics as a professional engineer, it is about so much more than preventing illegal activity. It is about making sure the life we touch with our work are protected from incompetence and are at the forefront of our mind as we work. Given the part of the code of ethics of professional engineer that deal with honesty and integrity go back to a safety issue. The things we have designed, built, and maintained could result in a loss of life if we put profit, personal investments, or anything else in from people. Literature review. Malaysia construction industry is generally classified into 2 categories, namely general construction and special trade. General construction comprises 3 subsectors, which are residential construction, non-residential construction, and civil engineering construction. The second category, special trade, involves activities such as metalwork, electric, plumbing, sewerage, and sanitary, refrigeration and air conditioning, painting, carpentry, tiling, and flooring, and glass. Recent studies show that a fraud in the construction business is widespread, with a manufacturing, construction, and engineering sector, as thus highly involved in fraudulent activity. At the same time, there is also evidence that poor governments disproportionately affect the poor, as they lack resources for alternative since investment in infrastructure is critical drive of economic growth. Poor governments, mismanagement, and corruption in construction projects can undermine social and economic development outcomes and serve as a structural brake on sustainable development. There are many reasons why professionals are involved in unethical practical practice. This may be a dual infusion, legislative enforcement, fairness competition, the economic downstream, inflation, ethic education from school and professional institution, culture change, and high, high complexity of construction work. Methodology. Okay. In methodology, the one of the city Ernest landmark Giant supermarket collapsed with demolition work was going on. A 10-story office block at the other end of the building was not affected. It was it was on the process of the reconstruction of a 4-story complex and basement parking along Jalan Semangat. People around there saw that a sick cranes falling down along which the building claimed the life of a 7 Indonesian construction worker. 3 others were injured. Okay, this is our case study. Okay, that's all for me. Okay, my friend will continue about next slide. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syarif Bicik Asnu and my number is 13 DKA 90F1129. And now my turn to continue this presentation. Importance of ethical issue and rules of conduct for the profession in civil engineering associated with technology and environmental protection in civil engineering. First, is an engineer job to build team, make team better and come up with new solution to complicated problem. Engineers have created a new form of transportation, new way of generating energy, and build a communication network that span the globe, allowing the instantaneous retrieval of information. Second is engineers are held to high standard which their work, certainly higher than most other careers, but they should also be held to high ethical standard to ensure all their work is harming people or eroding public trust in our institution. Number 3 is engineers are now an integral part of how the world functions on a minute-to-minute level. 4. This is an important undertaking, and because of the profound impact it has on human society, one that should be approached with ethics in mind. The last is engineers are now an integral part of how the world functions on a minute level. They build the computer that hold data about our school, hospital and government. They build the security that keeps that data safe the hackers. They build the system that guide our plane, that schedule our train, that keep us safe from harm. Next, this the background of ethical case. First built in 1974, it was one of the first supermarket in Petaling and has survived the many phases of development until now. Second, the shopping center was involved in a controversy in the early 1990s as when it built its present 10-store car park extension, 4 stores higher than what the building plan approved by the then Petaling Jaya Municipal Council MPPJ. Number 3, the building has 4 stores of retail unit, 5 stores of office unit and 4 stores of car park. The building had been earmarked for redevelopment where it will be demolished and rebuilt with better planned features like loading bay, access road and security. Number 4, a 10-store office block at the other end of the building was not affected. 5, it was on the process of the reconstruction. of a 4-store complex and basement parking along Jalan Semangat. Next, people around they saw that sea crane falling down along the building. Last claimed the life of 7 Indonesian construction workers. 3 others were injured. Next is the ethical issue involved in the accident. First, preliminary investigation found that the building collapsed due to excessive loading at the top due to the presence of several heavy machines for demolition work. Number 2, preliminary information say there were 8 multifunctional machinery on the top floor of the building during the collapse process. It may be one of the main factors causing the structure of the building to become unstable and then collapse and is the worker. The collapse of the building structure occurred at the former site of Pasaraya Jaya, which contained a 9-store office building and a 4-store shopping complex. Number 3, the accident occurred while demolition work on part of the building was being carried out. The collapse happened at 5 p.m. when demolition work on the building was being carried out by several workers. Number 4, the professional consultant involved in the redevelopment project feel there is a need to find a way forward for its continuity. 7 Indonesian workers lost their life in the collapse while occurred during the implementation stage of the demolition and salvage works. And last, the cause of the collapse, like many collapses, can be linked back to many causes adding up to the failure, including inadequate design, poor quality control, and improper material, among others.
Assalamualaikum, nama saya Muhammad Hafizuddin bin Madani. Nombor kad matrik saya 13DKA19F1104. Saya akan menyambung pembentangkan masa tadi. Slide yang seterusnya ialah analysis ethical case. Yang pertama, the building collapsed before it could be completely demolished. Yang kedua, there are 5 heavy machinery in the 6-story building. Workers had begun demolition work on the building 20 days earlier. There were 30 foreign workers in the building when the building collapsed floor after floor. Yang ketiga, the fire brigade used a sky lift to assess the safety level of the collapsed building structure to allow rescue team to enter the rubble site. The accident, however, did not pose a danger to nearby residential areas. The survey found that residents in the surrounding residential areas are still in their respective home. Yang keempat, the road in front of the collapsed building was closed to traffic to allow a rescue operation to be carried out while other roads in the section 40 area were open as usual and the flow of traffic was controlled. Yang keempat, Deputy Minister of Housing and Local Government Datuk Seri Parlimen Laje Ukim said the initial investigation found that the building collapse believed to be due to the overload of heavy machinery used for demolition work. Slide yang seterusnya ialah action taken. The design must meet their specification and standard to ensure a good and safe design. Yang kedua, to ensure a safe design, engineer must first to possibilities about the measure of the product and implement way to minimize the consumption of product misused by the user. Yang ketiga, design has a responsibility to ensure that their consumption do not put the other on risk. Yang keempat, the product and finished device must be tested rigorously to see whether the product are safe and meet the specification needed. Yang kelima, give priority to implement construction work with his own commitment and avoid employment as a work or many times that can affect job delivery, service quality, construction product. A job often must be closely monitored so that service quality can be maintained. Yang terakhir, Perform our construction work with honest, with integrity and responsibility, with fair, just and excellent. We propose to make customer satisfaction through achievement of an agreed level of quality of all set. Yang terakhir ialah conclusion. The engineering core of it ethnic is important to bring the maximum good of benefit to the society and to the enterprise as well. The ethical core of ethnic can improve the quality of working and can secure the public interest toward any engineering practice. An executive in ethnic is expected to approve the effective ethical self-awareness that justify the market as the prevalent basic leadership device in our general public. Manageable investment with its stock of integrity value is as a general rule a method for supporting business sector perform quality and is subject to the agreement of current natural issue. Give priority to the aspect of safety and health at the workplace and surrounding to ensure that the construction work and their outcome do not endanger disease, injuries, or that any individual who is directly involved with the construction work, the community around the construction site.